I'll do it. Welcome back to another episode of the Tracy Take. We appreciate you guys coming and watching. Today we are going to be doing the Bears season preview. But before we get into that, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of our subscribers. We just broke 150 subscribers seconds before this video started being filming. So I just want to say thank you. And if you have not subscribed already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so we can send you a notification every time we post a video. So let's get into it now. All right.
Well, the Bears is going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
A lot of people watched and commented on our Justin Fields one, and
Mhm.
I don't know about you. I still think that Justin Fields will probably not play this year, probably not a majority this year. But that being said, though, there is still some opportunity for this team to succeed,
Mhm.
uh, in,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I do think Justin Fields will have an opportunity to play at some point this year. To me, I think if Andy Dalton comes in and the Bears are going the same like 8-8 that they were the last couple seasons,
Mm-hmm.
then I think Matt Nagy will, just go all in on Justin Fields and try and save his job,
Yeah, probably.
and
Yeah.
do that. But it's an interesting dynamic that I think that the Bears have going on here, because I think they're one of the few teams in the NFL that are like playing heavy defense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so like having a guy like Khalil Mack, who is one of the premier edge rushers in the league, he had 17 and a half sacks last year, and that was actually a regression from his previous season, if I remember right.
Wait, 17 and a half sacks in 2020?
Yeah, I think that's what I read. Or maybe
Or was it within the past 2 years? Because I had him for 9 sacks.
then it was the
Yeah. Okay.
past two seasons.
Okay.
But still 17 and a half sacks over two seasons
Well,
is
but still one of those. So to have 9 sacks
Mhm.
is great. But then the thing that really actually impresses me is the fact that for this Bears defense, they had 35 total sacks last year. They're bringing back, according to their depth chart, all 7 starters
Yeah.
for the 2021 season, and those 7 guys, that front 7,
Yeah.
the front 7 are coming back. They had 28.5 total sacks, so it's very
Yeah.
diverse. They can
Mhm.
attack you from all different angles, and that's what's going to make this team so well.
Yeah.
Make this defense work so well,
And then
especially. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say another piece on that defensive line that is coming back is Eddie Goldman, who missed 2020, and he's a
Oh,
big run
okay.
stuffing nose tackle. So
Hmm.
that'll be a good addition for uh, the Bears.
Oh, I did not
Uh,
know that. Okay. Well, yeah,
it'll help
because
them a lot in
they're
the run game.
Nichols Nichols Bilal. I think I pronounced that correctly. If
Yeah.
I'm not, I apologize. But he was a nose tackle last year, and he had 5 sacks. So it is.
Okay. Okay.
They're going to be very, very competitive. Have a lot of depth. This is going to be the heart of their team. It's going to be that defense. It's going to be
Yeah.
like the Bears of old that we know. Very
Mhm.
strong defense, and I think it's going to kind of make up for them losing Kyle Fuller. Even though they did replace
Yeah.
him with Desmond Trufant, and he was one of their
Yeah.
acquisitions
And
this
Jaylen
offseason.
Johnson, who was a rookie last year, had a really good rookie season, and so he'll
Mm-hmm.
kind of step up into that cornerback one role, and as
Yep.
well having Eddie Jackson behind him is will be a
Yeah.
big help.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have, I want to say 2018 first round pick Roquan Smith.
Yep.
He was a second team All Pro last year, and honestly, he could be in first team All Pro this year. I mean,
Well,
he really is that talented
yeah.
to
When your
to
teammate's
be
Khalil Mack, I'm assuming Khalil Mack was
true.
first
Yeah.
team All Pro, right? So
Yeah, he's made 6 straight Pro Bowls.
yeah.
So,
So this defense is elite, and honestly,
yeah,
actually,
top 5 in the
um,
league.
oh yeah, top 5 in the league, and honestly, with their offense, we're going to get to the big question mark. I'm assuming last, which they did address in the draft. But
Yeah.
offensively, though, their skill positions, they have really good skill
Mhm.
position players. I know this
Yeah.
isn't a popular opinion, but if you're looking at what you're going to get with Andy Dalton, um, I actually think Andy Dalton's a little bit better than Mitchell Trubisky. But stat wise, with what
Mhm.
Andy Dalton had with the Dallas Cowboys, was similar to Mitchell Trubisky's time with the Bears last year. Both
Yeah.
started 9 games. Andy Dalton had 100 more passing yards with 2,170
Yeah.
yards, 14 touchdowns, and eight picks. Mitchell Trubisky had 2,055 yards, 16 touchdowns, and eight picks. And that led them to the playoffs last year. And now they did have Nick Foles,
Yeah.
but I think you're going to get more consistent and better play out of Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
yes.
what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mitchell Trubisky, he could show up and have a really good game. He could have 75 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown and like 280 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
But he could go out the next week and have a dud. Whereas, like, I think Andy Dalton is going to be consistently like 225 to 275 passing yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns, and maybe a turnover here and there.
Mm-hmm.
A strip sack, fumble, or an interception. We'll get to the offensive line here in a second. But either way, I think you're going to have a much better idea of what that offense is going to look like with Andy Dalton versus Mitchell Trubisky. Again, that is if Andy Dalton is the primary starter this year. I know Bears fans are calling for Justin Fields pretty early on, but we'll have to see. So,
and I agree. I mean, I think it'd be fun to see Justin Fields. I'd love to see him do well. I've said this about everybody. Love to see him do well till the NFC Championship and until they lose to the Falcons. But that being said, though, he's going to have a long career, and I think there's no point in rushing it and like have him learn the system, have him work on any of his weaknesses, and that's what the Bears can help grow and coach him because they don't want to have a Mitchell Trubisky situation again where they draft this guy, put him in, and then he might not be ready or the confidence isn't there, and they don't really address his weaknesses. In the meantime, though, Andy Dalton is a great stopgap quarterback, especially when he's throwing to guys like Allen Robinson. And I was surprised doing this research. Like, I didn't realize he had 1,250 yards last year. And then he only had 6 touchdowns. I mean, 6 touchdowns is a good season, so to say. But then you have Jimmy Graham that's there for 456 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's still a big dude. He's still going to be a red zone threat. And David Montgomery can help you get into the red zone. He rushed for over 1,000 yards last year.
And second-year tight end Cole Kmet should improve off of last year. And another guy that I feel like is a little bit underrated and will have a better year because they traded away Anthony Miller to the Texans is Darnell Mooney.
Yep.
So he, I think, finished the season with like 61 catches for 650 yards. But he's a speedster, and he's a guy that can really burn people down the field. And he's a guy that I think will have a much bigger role coming up. So to kind of get to what we have been waiting for, that offensive line is the biggest question mark on the team. They're returning a few guys, and then a guy who missed 2020, James Daniels, is also returning into the mix. And so, if I could describe this offensive line in one word, it's going to be competition. Because they have a lot of guys that can play a lot of different positions. And I think they're just going to have to kind of find the right mix of who plays where and who can start. And so,
honestly, in my opinion, the only lock for their job is going to be Teven Jenkins at left tackle. He was one of the best left tackles in college football at Oklahoma State. Just put him there. It'll be a nice transition. It's going to be a learning curve, but it feels like all the other positions are, I feel like, kind of up for grabs, even at the right tackle position. Jermaine Afidi and Elijah Wilkinson is coming over from Denver. Them two will be competing for a tackle job. But then the loser of that job could potentially even go and play guard. So there's going to be so much competition for Bears fans to keep an eye on. And that's going to be the biggest question mark, I think, because this Bears defense has so much depth. There's a lot of talent at skill player position, I think, with the Bears offense. And if this offensive line can gel and can provide Andy Dalton some time and can open up some holes for David Montgomery, they could be competitive. I mean, I could see them making the playoffs again if this offensive line clicks.
Yeah, no. And so I guess that's going to kind of bring us into their schedule. So I had them going, I want to say 8-9, but I feel like they're going to have a rough patch in the beginning. One, offensive lines take time to build chemistry. And two, statistically, I know Tom Brady won a Super Bowl last year with his first time on a team, but statistically, quarterbacks on new teams tend to struggle for the first half of the season to a year, just learning a new offense and getting things down. I mean, if you look at it, I think there were 5 teams where there was a new quarterback last year, and
Yeah,
only 2 of them made the playoff. 1 or 2 of them made the playoffs.
yeah.
So it's a learning curve that teams have to go through. And so I feel like the Bears are a team, if their defense plays really, really well, that they could steal some of these games. But it doesn't help that they have a really tough start to the schedule. They have to go to the Rams, to Cleveland, and then to Vegas. 3 of their first 5 games.
I think that Vegas is one that they can win because the Vegas offense is going to be kind of similar
Hmm.
to the Lions that we just talked about. Is they're going to
Yeah.
have a lot of new or younger receivers, so we'll see how that
Hmm.
offense meshes. Um,
Yeah.
but they actually have a fairly weak defense, so the
Yeah.
Bears might be able to exploit that. So that could be a win.
Hmm.
But I do agree with what you're
Yeah.
saying, though. Packers, Bucks, 49ers. I'm
Yeah.
not betting
I was
on
just
the
about to get to
Bears.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a tough 3 game stretch. And then as you can see in the second half of the season, I have them performing a lot better. Uh, they have a tough game against Baltimore, but then they'll play the Lions, the Cardinals. They got to go to Green Bay late in the season, which is always tough. And then
yeah.
Minnesota, Seattle, the Giants, and then Minnesota again. Uh, I think that is really where the future of this team will be shown,
Hmm.
and they'll really show how good that they can be in 2022, which is when I think this team will be really, really competitive and be able to make a late season push.
Yeah, yeah, I
So,
agree. So uh, they'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun,
mhm.
especially after doing this research. Just keeping an eye on this offensive line because, as you
Yeah,
mentioned, if this offensive line can gel and then give time for the skill players for David Montgomery to put up
yeah,
1,100 yards again, Allen Robinson to get another 1,000-yard receiving year, then
yeah.
I could see them doing really well.
Hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm excited to watch them. I'm very excited to see the progression of Justin Fields, and even if he gets a chance to play. But yeah, that's
Mhm.
all I have for the Bears. I think that's going to wrap it up. Guys, please make sure to like and subscribe. We love making content for you guys, and we really want to keep doing it. So let us know what you think in the comments section, and we may just give you a shout out in one of our next episodes. All right, have a good one.